This is The Spotlight, where we turn the spotlight on the arts. We have an exciting show planned for you with an awesome guest. But before we meet our guest this morning, let me remind you of just a few dates of activities that are happening in our district with our students that involve the arts. First of all, the Port St. Lucie High School 25th Anniversary Show, celebrating 25 years, MAME. It runs Thursday, February the 6th through Sunday, February the 9th. 5 different shows. It's the show that you don't want to miss. Also, Solo and Ensemble Festival for our chorus students will happen on February the 14th and 15th at South Fork High School. And of course, all of our students would love for you to come and see them perform their solos, their ensembles, or in the musical at Port St. Lucie High School. As I told you, we have an awesome guest this morning, and we're welcoming back for the 4th time, I think, acclaimed theater drama educator Lisa Stewart from Fort Pierce Central High School to the Spotlight. Ms. Stewart, welcome to the show.
Good morning, Dr. Perry. It's great to be back.
It is always a pleasure to have you as our guest. We love the conversation that you bring about the arts and about the wonderful things that's happening with your students at Fort Pierce Central High School. But before we get into that, would you please tell our viewing audience a little bit about your background?
Yes, I am a product of the St. Lucie County school system. I graduated from Fort Pierce Westwood High School in 1992. Went on to Stetson University, graduated from there in 1996. I started teaching in St. Lucie County in 2002, so this is my 12th year as a teacher in St. Lucie County. As well, I earned my master's degree in higher education in 2011. Yes.
Okay, all right. Those dates just kind of run together sometimes,
They
don't they?
start to, yes.
At Fort Pierce Central, well, let me back up. Once a Panther, always a Panther. You have to get that in.
That's correct.
You are the theater director.
Yes.
Tell us what that job entails for you at Central.
Well, it involves being able to meet the needs of a lot of students. In addition to teaching them about the basics of theater and about, the origins in theater, it also teaches, I also find myself having to instruct, my students about the artistic elements, the importance of projection, diction. I also, for my more advanced students, because I teach all the levels of theater at Fort Pierce Central, Theater 1, 2, 3, and 4, for my more advanced students, it's that high-level performance as well as understanding the importance of problem solving, because that is, across the board, bar none, one of the most important aspects of the arts. I mean, in addition to teaching the appropriate study skills necessary, like in-depth analysis of text, understanding, characters, understanding playwrights or authors' intention, there are the life skills that I'm also teaching my students. Not just the importance of being confident within yourself, but also being able to solve problems and being able to meet challenges, and also the hallmark, I think, of all important life skills, and that's being able to work with other people, being able to collaborate.
When I hear you speak about the work that you do with students in the arts and theater arts, and I hear you talk about the complexities of text and looking at plot and character and understanding the background that the playwright is trying to bring, solving problems and working collaboratively, you actually sound like a reading teacher.
Well, actually, well, reading as well as just across the board, even language arts. I mean, being that, theater arts is under the language arts umbrella.
Understand.
So, we're cousins, so to speak.
Understand, and I wanted to make that point because everything that we do in the arts, be it music, art, dance, or theater, is linked back to language arts, social studies, science, and math, and you can find us woven into the intricacies of the instruction and those strategies that teachers are using, and they really should be using the arts because the arts follow history and what's happening in the world. But when I listen to you speak, you sound like a strong advocate of the arts. Speak about your advocacy.
I'm a firm believer that if without the arts, as a society, we don't have a conscience. Yes, math and science are incredibly important. As a matter of fact, there are technical elements of theater that could not exist without the existence of math and science. But understanding the ability to feel, to be able to inject musicality into a score, to be able to internalize a character to the point where that actor's portrayal of that character is not only a point or a source of inspiration for an unknown audience member, but also a springboard for someone else to say, hey, I can do this. You know, a painter or a sculptor's ability to create a work of art that leaves a lasting impression in the mind of another person and inspires them to pursue the same. Without the arts, our society does not have a conscience, period. And that is the extent to my advocacy of what it is that I do.
It's the month of February.
Yes.
Black History Month. Mm-hmm. And we know there are some very famous things that have happened in the arts. Talk to us about African Americans and their involvement in the arts, in theater arts.
Well, in theater arts, it's becoming more and more of an impression, more and more of an influence. It's amazing. I think, just recently, just last month actually, there was a Porgy and Bess revival that toured the nation and actually performed sold out shows at the Kravis Center. And with the Florida State Thespian Festival coming upon us in March, that's the world's largest theater festival with over 7,000 attendees. You know, we're getting an opportunity to see different types of plays across the board, and we're seeing more and more, and not just myself, but other theater teachers that are doing, I guess, the colorblind casting or diversifying the cast members in different musicals and plays. One of our technical titles for next year is going to be the musical Aida, which honestly has to be my favorite musical, other than Les Mis, and even the most recent rendition of Les Mis that I'd seen from a touring company last year was colorblind casted. It's amazing to see.
Great.
And there are a lot of things that I'm seeing in the arts that I love.
Let's play a game.
Yes.
I'll call it the game of favorites.
Okay.
I'll call out a favorite category, and you give me an answer.
Yes.
Okay. Favorite musical?
Aida.
Favorite musical actress?
Favorite musical actress?
Did I stump you?
Yes, you stumped me. Oh my gosh, there's so many. Favorite musical actress? I'd have to say Stephanie Mills from The Wiz. I mean, she's my favorite.
Okay.
Yes.
Favorite musical actor?
Favorite musical actor? Oh my.
I've never seen you speechless, Miss
Yeah,
Stewart.
right? Well, it's funny. Favorite musical actor? I absolutely love Hugh Jackman.
Okay.
Yes.
Last musical scene?
Last musical scene was the 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. That was at the college a couple of weeks ago. Hilarious. I haven't laughed that hard in a long time.
I'm going to stump you again.
Yes.
Favorite African American actor? Doesn't have to be in a musical.
Oh, Sidney Poitier.
Sydney. Favorite African American playwright?
August Wilson.
Oh, wow. And an actress or actor that you would love to work with?
There's so many phenomenal actors and actresses out there. I would actually like to work with Jamie Foxx.
Okay, great,
Yes.
great. He's doing some great things. He's doing some great things.
Amazing things.
Phenomenal. His musical skills, his acting skills, he just has some major chops.
Yes, he does.
If you had an opportunity to speak to parents or to the school board members or to representatives, commissioners about the importance of arts, what would you say to them about students and making sure the arts are available for them?
I would say that if they want to be a part of building a society that is successful, that is founded on not just the ability to study well, but also the ability to become solid citizens with diverse backgrounds and high levels of intelligence, then supporting the arts would be in their best interest.
Okay, let's make another switch if that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have a show coming up.
Yes.
Tell us about it.
Little Shop of Horrors.
Little Shop.
Yes. It is. It's interesting because it's my first sci-fi.
Okay.
And at first, I have to be honest, it's it's sort of taken me, sort of the way that Audrey 2 the Plant takes its characters. It just sort of, it's taken me, so to speak. The music is phenomenal. Howard Mencken, just amazing. And yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited about it. And it's dark, but it's funny. And it's a horror musical as opposed to a horror movie. And it's a satire, and it hits on the Greek chorus piece with the doo-wop girls and with the urchins, as they're called. There's so many pieces about it, and it's just so much fun. And it hits at all of us at our core. It really does. It's neat.
How many students do you have participating in this year's musical?
The total cast, including principals and chorus members, 15.
15.
Mm-hmm.
And those show dates are?
March 7th and 8th, and we have 3 shows. Opening night is 7 p.m., and on the 8th we have a 2 o'clock matinee and a 7 p.m. show on the 8th.
And the cost of tickets for the show?
$5 for students, $10 for adults.
And they can be picked up, purchased where?
They can be purchased at the Fort Pierce Central High School box office.
Great, great. Because we want to make sure that everybody comes out to see Little Shop, because I'm sure they will be amazed. I'm sure they will be entertained.
Yes.
Lots of fun. I'm sure they'll leave singing something
yes.
from that show. How did you go about choosing Little Shop?
Interestingly enough, well, after we had amazing success with Footloose, we decided, when I say we, I talk about Mr. Boswell and myself, because a lot of the decisions that we make about, the productions that we do, it's something we sit down and we collaborate on. And I wanted to do something that was fun, probably something with a smaller cast, but that would require a great deal of power on the part of each of the actors. And I also wanted to sort of up my game in terms of my directorial challenges that I would face. Because yes, this is a fun show and it is a smaller cast, but it's still a tough show to direct. So I like that challenge.
As a teacher, as an educator,
yes,
what do you hope to accomplish through teaching theater arts to young adults? What do you hope that they will leave with when they leave you?
Self-empowerment. That is why I go to work every morning. That is why I drive my car up to that building. That is every time. That's why I open up that door. That's why I stay until, I get there when it's dark and I leave when it's dark. I'm there to empower young people.
Well, we're glad that you joined us again for this edition of The Spotlight. Mm-hmm. We are so glad that we've had an opportunity to speak with you. But I also know that you brought some students with you.
Yes.
And you also brought a performance for us.
Yes, we I brought 2 performances. I brought Bryson Mitchell, who's playing the part of Seymour. And Seymour. And I also brought Kaylee Hall, who is playing the part of Audrey.
And why don't you go on and introduce the performances that we're going to see?
Yes, the first performance that you're going to be seeing is a performance of Somewhere That's Green. That is the name of the song, and it's sung by Audrey. And she's sharing her dream of what she would like in her own life. That is in stark contrast to her current reality in Skid Row. And the second piece will feature Seymour pleading with Audrey 2 to just simply grow. And he is going to be pleading to a huge degree, and he will be making some very interesting discoveries during the course of this performance.
Thank you again for joining us on this edition of The Spotlight, and we can't wait to talk to your students.
And thank you again for having me, Dr. Perry.
Our pleasure.
A matchbox. tracks of our own, a fence of real chain link, a grill out on the patio, disposal in the sink, a washer and a dryer, and an ironing machine, in a tract house that we share somewhere that's green. He rakes and trims the grass, he loves to mow and weed. I cook like Betty Crocker, and I look like Donna Reed. There's plastic on the furniture to keep it neat and clean. In the pine sol scented air, somewhere that's green. Between our frozen dinner and our bedtime 9:15, we snuggle watching Lucy on our big, enormous 12-inch screen. I'm his December bride, his father, he knows best. Our kids watch Howdy Doody as the sun sets in the west. A picture out of Better Homes and Gardens magazine. Far from Skid Row, I dream we'll go somewhere that's green.
I've given you sunlight, I've given you dirt. You've given me nothing but heartache and hurt. I'm begging you sweetly, I'm down on my knees. Oh, please grow for me. I've given you plant food and water to sip. I've given you potash, you've given me zip. Oh God, how I miss you. Oh pot, how you tease. So please grow for me. I've given you southern exposure to get you to thrive. I've pinched you back hard like I'm supposed to. You're barely alive. I've given you levels of moisture from desert to mud. I've given you grow lights and mineral supplements. What do you want from me, blood? I've given you sunlight. I've given you rain. Looks like you're not happy. Lest I open a vein. I'll give you a few drops, if that'll appease. Now please, oh please, grow for me.
Welcome back to the second segment of the Spotlight. We are pleased to be joined by Kaylee Hull and Bryson Mitchell. Kaylee plays Audrey in Little Shop of Horrors, and Bryson plays Seymour in The Little Shop of Horrors, the lead characters. Kaylee, Bryson, welcome to the show.
Hello.
Hello.
It is indeed a pleasure to have you on the Spotlight as we turn the spotlight on the arts, but specifically we're turning the spotlight on your upcoming production of Little Shop of Horrors. Before we talk about the show, would you tell us a little bit about yourself, what grade you're in, that kind of thing? And Kaylee, can we start with you?
Yeah, I'm in 11th grade, and this is my second production with Miss Stewart, and yeah.
Okay, all right. And Bryson?
I'm a senior, and so I've been doing plays with Miss Stewart since my freshman year, so I'm sad that this is my last one, but...
Have you guys done any shows outside of school?
No, not that I know of.
I haven't done it either.
So you're just products of Miss Stewart. Well, I'll let you in on a secret. I taught Miss Stewart, okay?
Really?
I'm one of Mrs. Stewart's teachers. She'll tell you about that later on. Tell us a little bit about the character that you play in Little Shop of Horrors. Who wants to start?
Ladies first.
Of course. I play Audrey, and she is basically, she loves Seymour, but she doesn't want to tell him because she doesn't think that she deserves a nice guy and she says repeatedly, you know, like, you don't find nice guys in Skid Row, and I don't deserve a nice guy because I have a past. And it's a little bit difficult because I don't think that way of myself, so it's a little bit difficult to play, but the challenge is always nice.
Oh, great. Challenges are always great. They stretch us. They stretch us. Bryson, tell us about Seymour.
Seymour is basically a product of his environment. He was taken in by Mushnick, the shop owner, and he basically has no self-esteem. He doesn't really value himself. He doesn't have any confidence, and it's bad for him because he has really strong feelings for Audrey, but he can't even find it in himself to approach her. So, like, along the course of the play, he's basically trying to figure out who he is and find himself. And so it's a challenge, but it's exciting to play at the same time.
Tell us a little bit about what the musical Little Shop of Horrors is about, because I don't know if all of our viewing audience knows.
It's basically about a plant that Seymour buys from a Chinese man on the street in Skid Row. And he tries to nurse it and grow it, and it basically becomes a big hit around the Skid Row community, and it makes the shop a success. But the catch is that the plant feeds on blood. And so Seymour constantly has to battle with the plant and actually kill people to keep the plant alive and thriving. So it's basically like he's selling his soul to the devil.
Okay. You guys are cast as the lead, as the principals, the stars of the show, if I will. What was the process for being cast? What did you have to do in auditions?
This year we had to sing a piece chosen by Miss Stewart, and you didn't have to, but it was like recommended that you kind of like act with the song, like, you know, move around and act like the character. And then you also had to do a dancing piece that I don't know who, I think our choreographer came up with a dance and everything and then taught us it, and then that same day we auditioned with that piece.
Tell me, what's your favorite? Let me back up. Have you been in, you said that you were in other shows. Tell us what those other shows were that you were in and the characters that you played at Fort Pierce Central.
Last year we did Footloose, and I played Ariel.
And Ariel was?
She was the principal. She was the pastor's daughter.
The lead character, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Bryson?
Last year I was also in Footloose, and I played Ren McCormick. And prior to that I was in Grease, and I played the teen angel and one of the T-Birds. And I was also in Cinderella and Seussical and A Raisin in the Sun.
Okay. So last year you guys were the principals, and you're coming back as the principals this year. Wow, no fair, no fair. Now, tell me, what's your favorite musical?
I watched PSL do The Sound of Music, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Like, it's my favorite all time.
Okay, okay. Bryson?
My favorite of all time? It's tough. If I had to pick, I would probably say Grease. That's the musical I grew up with, so that would be my favorite.
Okay. How exciting is it for you to be on stage? What drives you? What energizes you?
I absolutely love it. Like, I remember when I was a little kid, I would always go to plays at PSL High, and I would watch them, and I'd always like be like, Mom, I want to be that girl up there. I want to be like the main character. And I never actually thought I could do it. I never thought I could get on stage and do it until last year, and I was kind of like, not forced to, because it's not like, oh, you have to be this part or whatever, but I, you know, didn't think I could do it until I had to, and I was given the part, and I just absolutely love performing, and I found like a new kind of like light inside of me.
Oh, great, Kaylee. Bryson?
It's undescribable. You really get to channel who you are inside on stage, and you really get to take a character on and portray it fully, and it's liberating. It's just a great way to express yourself and to be who you are without judgment.
Tell us about how your rehearsals are going. What happens in rehearsals? Do you have to do warm-ups, and what? How they run?
We have a
stretch.
We have a very intense stretch routine with our choreographer, and then we basically just go through, and we try to, you know, get through to new scenes and everything, or perfect scenes that we're working on.
How many other students are? You're the principals, but there's a cast of about 15, I think Ms.
15.
Stewart said.
Yeah.
And what roles do those persons play in the show?
There is Oren the dentist. There's the 3 doo-wop girls. There's Mushnik. And then there's the chorus.
Chorus. Okay. So those are the other principals and the rest of the cast. I know you're in theater at school, but are you a part of any other organizations at school?
This year, no.
Okay.
Normally I'm like way more involved, but this year I had a lot on my plate, so I had to kind of pick and choose.
Okay.
But I would never give up theater. I couldn't.
I do understand. It's a wonderful place to live, the theater. Bryson, you?
Nothing else. Nothing else.
Okay, here's a tough question for you. You guys apparently love the theater, love the arts. One day you may be at school and a parent may be deciding what they should do with their child, if their child should be involved in any of the arts, music, art, dance, theater. What would you say to that parent to entice that parent to make sure that they put their child into one or more forms of the arts?
That is tough.
Yeah. I think theater is like really good for children because it really gets them to open up. I know a lot, like me and other students who were kind of like shy, like didn't really talk in front of people a whole lot until they were in theater. Like now I have no problem speaking in front of people or giving speeches, and it really helps you open up and just kind of.
It builds teamwork. It promotes those speaking abilities, those kinds of things that, as you mentioned, open up to other people and other things that may be around you. Anything you want to add, Bryson?
I would say the same thing. It helps you a lot to collaborate with other people, and it's also a great way of self-discovery and just getting to know yourself and being able to learn your inner creativity.
Now, you told me what your favorite musical is. Tell me about your most memorable performance. What would it be? Your most memorable performance on stage, singing, acting, whatever it may be.
I think mine would be our piece for competition. We did the Sissification of Romeo and Juliet, and I played narrator too. And basically, I was like we had another narrator 1, and we were like thing 1 and thing 2, and it was crazy. And I don't think I'll ever forget that one because that was just so wacky and weird and funny.
Got it. Bryson?
My most memorable performance would probably be Footloose because I really enjoyed working with the cast, and me and Kaylee like really got a strong bond after working on that show. So that would be my favorite.
Okay. Little Shop of Horrors is coming up the first part of March. Help me out. The show dates are?
March 7th and 8th.
March 7th and 8th, and the times are?
On both days, there's a show at 7 o'clock, and on the 8th, there's a matinee at 2 o'clock.
So it's Friday night and Saturday night.
Yes.
I'm assuming Friday and Saturday night at 7, and Saturday afternoon at 2 o'clock.
Yes.
And tickets can be purchased at the Fort Pierce Central High School
Box office.
And we're hoping that everybody comes out to see you guys. I'm sure you're going to put on a spectacular performance. I can't wait to see Little Shop of Horrors. I can't wait to see what Miss Stewart has cooked up for us this year. And on behalf of all of us here at Spotlight, I want to thank you for joining us as we help you promote Little Shop of Horrors this year. And to our viewing audience, we want to thank you again for tuning in, for joining us here on the Spotlight, where we turn the spotlight on the arts. We're hoping that you will go out and see these wonderful students perform in Little Shop of Horrors and all of the other activities that we have related to the arts here in St. Lucie County. That's it for this edition, and we'll see you next month here on the Spotlight, where we turn the spotlight on the arts.